Rest in peace.
The whole world will acknowledge me.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
What? This is extremely uneventful because I'm going to do what I wanted to do. I wanted an introduction, all right? I didn't want to just show up. So we're going to try that one more time. Please excuse me from the chat, all right?
Are you removing yourself or do I have to do it? Oh, and he's out of here. He's out of here. He's like Aaron Boone. The Ayatollah of rock and rolla is joining me today while Sal is doing the job with some schoolwork. Nerd.
When you say the job, do you mean like the wrestling job or like actual job?
I mean, he's got to be getting jobbed out right now if he can't be joining me 5 o'clock on a Wednesday.
If you're doing a wrestling job, right, and you're in school, what does that exactly mean?
That they're taking him to class. Kid's supposed to be graduating in a couple of months, and I feel like he's busier now than he's ever been.
Hey, listen, I ain't mad at him because he's doing more than I did.
That, you know, that is true. But welcome to a special edition of the Rasslin Addicts. I'm the MATT, and here I am with the scoreboard's own Nick Jabba Jaw. Let's go. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, you got it, buddy. I heard of an opportunity to talk about some wrestling with my old friends. I used to make cameos on the show all the time. I stopped getting invites. I don't know what the hell happened. I didn't want to acknowledge my fucking tribal chief, I guess. And then they were like, don't come back.
You gotta. Once you acknowledge Roman, I could remove Sal from the intro and add you in.
Listen, that's never going to happen. So I guess you're keeping Sal.
Well, what is going to happen? Speaking of Roman, big weekend for wrestling. Saturday is the Night of Champions pay-per-view, which a few months ago was supposed to be the King of the Ring. And, you know, they're going to do the King and Queen in the Ring in Saudi. Now they're not. Now it's the Night of Champions. And I think it's a stacked card looking at it. Let me pull it up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches. Only 2 of them are not championship matches, which is okay, if you ask me. But
contradictory, isn't it?
It is. It's Night of Champions, but at least the people in the matches are, you know, former champions, and they do have a. Are you looking for a glass?
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Well, hey, listen, if you don't, there's your glass. There you go. It's 5 o'clock here. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's facts. All right, you were saying?
Have you been watching the product? Have you been saying?
I caught up on Monday. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I watch a lot of NXT, to be truthful. Like, I don't watch it like to the point where I follow storylines. I watch it in passing. So like at least twice a month, maybe 3 times a month, I actually have NXT on. Like,
okay,
I go to my girlfriend's family's house for dinner. Her dad's into wrestling.
Oh,
so
nice.
NXT on. So we'll be chatting about stuff, and we'll be talking about the glory days as NXT is on, and we're really just critiquing the matches. I often find myself saying you fucked up, but you know,
yeah, there
is what it is. You know, NXT is a great thing ish. I like it and I dislike it. I have my pros and my cons. I did watch Raw this week, and I got to be honest, Kevin Nash is right. 3 hours is too long. By the second hour, by the end of the second hour, I was like, is it over yet? Because I'm not interested in anything that's been going on up to this point.
It's funny. I feel like ever since I started doing the podcast, I've watched less and less of wrestling, and it's just, to start the week off Monday already, like with work and all that other bullshit, and then having to sit down, and it's exhausting sometimes to get through 3 hours. I
fell asleep at the last match. I don't even remember what the last match was because I fell asleep. I wasn't feeling that great on Monday, to be truthful with you.
How you feeling now?
Much better. I mean, I did my 2 mile run this morning. I dragged my sled and I did my planks and I did my 2 mile run. So I'm all right. I'm recuperated, rested, and
you look great. You look great.
I appreciate that. That's mighty kind of you say. But I did watch Raw on Monday. I got to be honest with you, like nothing I saw blew any wind up my skirt at all. And with regard to Night of Champions, I was kind of sitting there going like, okay, that's cool. I think the only one I was really looking forward to that it's like high on my radar, to me, it's the top match of the night, is I believe Seth is going to be wrestling AJ.
Yeah.
To me, that's a tier above. You know me, I'm not a Brock guy. So Brock wrestling Cody to me is like, I couldn't give a shit less. Really couldn't. I don't know how Cody's still a top tier guy and he has such a bad lisp. It's like, I don't understand how you talk for a living and you didn't get speech therapy at some point in your life to not do that. I guess he knew he was like the American dream and his dad had a lisp and like it's his honor to like carry the lisp on.
That's not something you want to carry on.
It's not. I'm not saying anything bad about people that have speech impediments. I'm just saying, like, if you speak for a living, probably best not to have a speech impediment.
I have a lisp, and you won't really. I hide it, kind of, but it's not like I'm also not in the ring every week.
I don't feel like your lisp is as pronounced as Cody's.
Yeah, because like you even see it with his face, like when he's talking, and you get like that profile, you like see the lips and like the tongue. It's It's like, come on, Cody.
He's like a thing. So
you're not the only one. I'm a Brock guy. I like Brock. I like the attraction that he is. He's not a. Even in the polls that I did that we'll talk about a little later, I don't think I even listed him in any of the options as, WWE champion. And this feud, a lot of people are like, why? Why did Brock attack Cody a couple of months ago? What is his issue? No one really knows. And then you have a handful of people are like, well, it's Brock Lesnar. He doesn't need a reason why.
I can't figure out if Brock is a cowboy or a Viking. Does he know?
Cowboy. He's a cowboy.
What's with the ponytail?
His kids like it.
There's only like 3 reasons to have long hair, and he's like holding one of them right now. I think there's actually 4 reasons to have long hair as a man, and he's holding one of them right now as being a wrestler. So like you can be a pirate, you can be a wrestler, you can be a Viking, or you can be a rock star. I think those are the only 4 acceptable reasons for a man to have long hair. And to this day, I'll never understand why wrestlers want long hair, considering they're supposed to be, fighting. Having long hair is like you won't see anybody grab Austin's head and use like his hair to slam his head against the turnbuckle.
Doesn't have any, but Brock, a lot of people are saying, and I was going to make a short about this, but we'll do it here. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
The most interesting thing about that 3-hour snore fest called Monday Night Bore was...
Oh, he said
it! I love those, was the interaction between Triple H and Cody. Did you catch, like, Cody was like, I'm fighting Brock no matter what.
I missed the first 10 minutes.
This was at the end of the show. Oh,
I fell asleep. In the last 20 minutes.
You fell asleep?
I fell asleep.
Cody.
Every diehard right now is like, look, watching this show right now. And they're going,
You're a phony.
I guess so. Like,
Listen,
I'm sorry, I was medicated. I was trying to feel a little bit better. I tried to stay away. So, what was the last match again? It was a triple threat. It was a triangle tag team, wasn't it?
No, it was a triple threat. It was Imperium versus.
It's not triple threat. It was a triangle tag team.
No, it was just
3-on-3 tag. It was a 3
on 6-man tag. What did I say? A triple
tag. Yeah, the 6-man tag.
Dude, 6-man tag. You're right. Triple threat. 6-man tag. It was Imperium versus KO, Sammy, and Matt Riddle, who needs to either put on pants or maybe
or boots.
I don't care about his boots. I don't need to see the banana hammock every week.
It bothers me that he doesn't wear shoes. It's just really unhygienic. I don't feel good about it.
Solo doesn't wear shoes.
Solo's Samoan. They don't have to wear shoes.
That is true. It is pretty dirty.
Just saying.
Yeah. But anyway, triple threat.
Point out, are we just okay with what's this guy's name? The German guy.
Gunther.
Are we just okay with him being a Nazi and nobody's gonna point that out? Like the man literally wore a Nazi trench coat to WrestleMania. And everybody's just like, oh, it's cool because he could wrestle real good. But like, are we just gonna we're gonna glaze over that? Because I see that guy and I'm like, clearly that man's a Nazi. Like that's the look he's going for right now.
No, he's a general. He's going into war. That's his war code
of Nazi Germany. He's a general during World War II for Germany.
I mean, you're getting there on your own.
I'm saying that's what I see. I'm a student of history, and when I look at that man come through with a Nazi jacket on, and he's like, "I'm the general." Yeah, clearly.
No,
freaking
ring. He's the ring general. By calling him the ring general, it doesn't mean like he's a Nazi or he's in war. He's just in the ring. He's the general.
In the ring, he's Rommel. I got it. Yeah, it's too easy.
So Cody Rhodes at Triple H. End of the show. The best part of the show after that triple threat. Sorry, 6-man tag. You would think I was drinking that. Cody got his ass kicked by Brock earlier in the night. Brock fucked up his arm. There was a lot of speculation. Oh my God, is his arm broken? They said it was broken, but
I heard somebody say, "Do you hear that pop?" But there was no pop to be heard.
Yeah, it's probably my boy Corey Graves. He was
like, "You hear that nasty pop at the end?" No, Corey. Nobody heard a pop because no pop took place.
Corey's all in.
Be like, "Oh my God, I think it's broken," but don't make shit up like outright. Like, yeah, we can't even pretend like we heard a pop because there was no pop. At least have the guys backstage add a pop into like what we're hearing on TV,
like those chiropractor videos of the
something. I don't know.
Cracks.
If I can add this, they can add a pop. Okay,
that is true. But he was refusing medical attention the entire night, and then you see him backstage after the match and after they hype up Night of Champions, and then Triple H walks in and sits next to him. And was like, you can't do this. You're not medically cleared. And Cody's like, I'm going to fight anyway. I need to finish my story. So then Triple H smirked and was like, patting him on the leg, stood up, patting him on the shoulder, and then left. So now a lot of people are speculating that Triple H is the reason why Brock Lesnar is attacking Cody. Because there's just no story to explain it at all. It's totally random. Brock went from being a lovable good guy that everybody cheered for to attacking the biggest babyface on Raw, and Cody Rhodes. So you need some sort of reason, especially for the second match.
So what happens when Brock comes out and goes, "I did it for the Brock"?
Who's driving? Who's driving the car? Brock?
You know what, though? Talking about who's driving and all that stuff, I saw the attack on Cody in the ring when he throws him in the Kimura, right? Here's my problem with them using actual legitimate, MMA moves in wrestling to injure one another. Okay. Back in the day, they would have hit Cody with a car. They would have thrown him in a sharpshooter. They would have hit him with a chair, thrown him through a table, something extravagant. They'd have put him in a car and flipped the car off of a bridge. That's what they would have done. Any injury he sustains thereafter is conceivable because the cause was so extravagant that anything could have happened at that point. Brock Lesnar is an MMA fighter. If he puts you in a Kimura, if he wants to break your arm, we don't have to speculate about whether or not he broke your arm. He puts you in the Kimura, he bends you the wrong way, it snaps. 2 seconds. Literally sounds like this. There's no speculation. There's no extravagant.
Did you hear that pop? Did you hear that pop?
There is no question about whether or not somebody gets injured when you put them in a Kimura and you break their arm and it's bending in the wrong direction. It's almost like when Sid broke his leg. There is no question about whether or not Sid broke his leg. Yeah, it's broken. We can see it. Your leg's not supposed to bend that way. And if Brock really wanted to hurt Cody, his arm wouldn't bend that way. Like, it would have been over. That's it. So, like, this whole thing, like, oh, you think he broke his arm? No. If he broke his arm, we'd all known it. We'd have seen it, and they'd have blurred the TV because it had been too gross for PG WWE. So, like, to me, they should have just hit him with a chair, like, closed his arm in the gate again, something, like anything. Put his arm in the chair, and then have him stomp on the chair. Throwing him in the Kimura, to me, just kind of was like, well, we know he didn't break his arm, because if he did...
I think that's what they're going with. So here's my problem with it, too. When Brock first came back, like, 10 years ago, WrestleMania 29, the sad one that I went to, leading up to that, he put Shawn Michaels in the Kimura and broke his arm. But then he put Triple H in it and it sprained his arm. He didn't get like the full effect.
If you break the arm in a Kimura, there's no question about whether or not they got it broken. Their arm bends in a direction that most human beings can't do, and you're sitting there going, "Dear God, it's broken." Like, that's gross. Don't want to see it. You know, like, it's like
they switch it up every time. It's like, oh, did it break? Did it not break? Oh, what are we doing today, pal? What do we do? It's like it's not consistent. So I get it. To like where it can be frustrating.
I think the severity of that move, when you put a Kimura on somebody and they tap out, once they've tapped, they've reached the limit of, oh crap, my arm's gonna break. If they tap out and you keep going, their arm is broken. That's it.
Yeah. There's
no other. It's just
fatality.
They're done. They're dead.
No
speculation. There's not like, oh, I wonder if they could take some more. They can't. That's why they tapped.
I think what you should do is on that soundboard, we need a what? A Stone Cold what? No, but that's to mock the person. You may hate it, but the reason why you hate it is the reason you're going to use it for. Like, if I'm just talking nonsense, like if I'm saying I love Brock, you do what? Brock Lesnar is the best. So that was the best part of Raw for me. Literally anything, you know, I would like to see that in a way where Triple H is like the
man behind the mask.
Yeah, but the problem is we don't get the payoff because Triple H can't wrestle anymore. You can't wrestle anymore. So, and it's like nobody wants to boo him. He's doing the job that everybody wanted him to do for years. Like, he took over for Vince. He's running creative.
Vince was doing the job forever, and he was the biggest villain ever, and he did the job. It was his job, his company. Everything was him.
You're right. But you know what? I feel like it's more open or talked about now that he's even making comments. Vince, during the time where he was Mr. McMahon, he never made a comment about booking, how hard booking was. You know, Triple H goes, you know, he's making small comments with his boys.
Kayfabe is gone. Entirely transparent. Gone. So anything...
This is why.
Twitter.
Phones, technology, Twitter, Instagram. Dude, I remember a couple of years ago, Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman were like beating the shit out of each other for months. They posted an IG picture of them going fishing together. Oh, great, you're boys. But like, you don't have to do that.
people say that in the 90s they ruined kayfabe. They didn't, though, because kayfabe was so like deep in the 90s that even when it wasn't kayfabe and it became a little real, you were still sitting there going, is this real? Like they literally saw somebody die in a ring and they were like, did he really die, or is this part of the show?
That's right. Bruce Prichard was talking about that, about Owen. People thought it was a work.
And rightfully so, because there were a lot of real things that were happening and there were a lot of kayfabe things that were happening. But you couldn't tell the difference because they blended it so closely together. And some of the shoots became works. Even into the 2000s, right? With the whole Matt, Jeff Hardy, and Edge and Christian thing, and Lita. That was a shoot that became a work.
Yeah. Because honestly, you thought at the time when he was showing up that it was real. Like, you really thought, he's like, holy shit. I'm like, how, like, you know, is this like legit? He's grabbing the mic, calling Edge by his real name, cursing, promoting Ring of Honor to where, you know, he was working because he was fired at the time. And, you know, I don't understand why, you know, Burger King acknowledges Wendy's, McDonald's acknowledges Burger King. I think that these different wrestling promotions, these companies, they need to just acknowledge that the other exists. But I don't mean like in promos, like, you know, how AEW did for the longest time. Like, oh, WWE this, WWE that. No, but like, you know, WWE is finally acknowledging that AJ Styles is a TNA champion, that he was with TNA. They do that because TNA is not a threat.
Right.
But even with AEW, like, you know, Jericho was on Austin's podcast on the network. Cody was on there. They talked about it, and you know, Jericho was with AEW when this happened, and it was a big deal. People talked about it. You know, there shouldn't be a reason why, you know, you can't do that.
I mean, I get what the reason is, but the fact that WWE is trying to pretend like they don't exist because they feel like once they acknowledge them, then now they're a real contender. I'm not a big fan of that, because I think you do need a good contender. That's how you move forward. When there is no competition, then you become stagnant. And that's what WWE for me has been for the last 10 years, just stagnant. Just nothing going on of any note, at least not for me. I'm an attitude era guy. Even into ruthless aggression, I'm into that a little bit as well. But like, basically for me, my adoration for wrestling and love for wrestling kind of ended when John Cena became Marky Mark.
I love John Cena. I love him now. Now I do.
Cena is Marky Mark. Right? I mean, he was a white dude that looked like Mark Wahlberg from Boston, and he'd come in rapping, and we'd be like, dude, you are not ghetto at all, bro. And then he'd come in, and then like he'd do 3 moves and win, and you'd be like, really, dude? Like, but I was at the match screaming like, John Cena sucks. Like,
yeah, we used to do that. Yeah. John Cena sucks. Yeah, but you know what? That was cool to do at the time. You know, everyone did it. You're there live. You have the little kids cheering, and then you're just singing.
John Cena to me was Hulk Hogan in the 80s.
Yes.
Except he was a rap version of Hulk Hogan. Ladarius says he remembers when Kurt Angle told Kevin Owens that Sami Zayn mentioned TNA is hiring back in the day. Also, he forgot John Cena was in Ted and Ted 2.
He was in Ted and Ted 2?
I don't think he was. I think he's talking about Mark Wahlberg.
That's good. All right.
Thank you, Ladarius. I liked with regard to John Cena, I like in Trainwreck where he's dating Amy Schumer and guy goes, yo, Jack John Cena, why don't you tell your bitch to shut up? And he's like, he goes, Jack Mark Wahlberg. And he goes, Mark Wahlberg? Mark Wahlberg's like 175 pounds. I'm 260 lean. I'll eat Mark Wahlberg.
That was funny. That's a good movie. Amy Schumer's terrible, but that's a good movie. John Cena, John Cena, John Cena, John Cena. It's always you don't realize what you got till it's gone, and I feel like the star power of John Cena is what's missed in today's WWE.
So talking about star power and John Cena, Night of Champions is coming up. How long do we have until Roman Reigns holds every belt in the company?
Well, Night of Champions is Saturday. Today's Wednesday. Thursday, Friday. Honestly, you know what? Let's jump right in to our prediction.
Roman's going to win Money in the Bank, and he's going to cash it in to win the World Heavyweight Championship too. And then we'll see him at UFC, and he'll win the UFC Championship belt.
I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to drop a little commercial for our guest, our not even guest. He's part of the show. He is the show. From one addict to another. Be right back.
Underdog Fantasy is here to save your post-fantasy football season blues. The easiest place to play and win with the Underdog Fantasy app. Get up to 20 times your money in a single night with our Pick'em contests. Grab some insurance when setting your picks and win even when one pick fails. Go online now and use the promo code SCOREBOARD to double your deposit up to $100. Sit gingerbread, good girl.
And we're back, and the champ is here. Yours is so much. This one, mine's so old. I need to like maybe.
Dude, I bought this.
You got that this year?
No, I bought this with you.
What?
Royal Rumble.
That's from the Royal Rumble?
That's from the Royal Rumble, man.
That's in pristine condition. I need to the lighting may be a little off, but I need to. This is one of my favorite belts. I don't know why I like it so much. It's so gimmicky. It's literally perfect.
I got it because I always wanted a championship belt, and it was the only one they had.
That was a great Royal Rumble. That was a good Rumble.
Yeah, it was great. Actually, two things I didn't like. One, Ric Flair versus MVP was an awful match.
Your boy.
Like it really was. Watch that match over. I'm pretty sure at one point MVP goes to do a drop toe hold off the ropes, and Flair botches it and falls about 3 seconds after MVP hits the mat. Like it's like MVP drops the drop toe hold, and then there's like a 1, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and Flair was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to fall."
Flair was looking for the bar. That's why he didn't fall.
Yeah, Flair was looking for the tooth he probably lost mid-fight because his teeth looked like freaking corn on the cob.
And here's our Night of Champions predictions. I'm going to go down the list of matches, and I'll go one by one. Nick, you drop your prediction. I'll give mine. I also received Sal's predictions, but he didn't put them in APA format, so I wasn't able to accept them. So
I know what that means.
Alrighty, let's go down the card. We'll start with your favorite part of wrestling, the women's matches. The first match is Rhea Ripley and Natalya, who are on Monday Night Raw, and Rhea Ripley's defending her SmackDown Women's Championship. Who do you got?
I love Natalya. I want everybody to know that up front. I loved her before they put makeup on her. I don't know why. I don't know why. I love Beth Phoenix too. I like those like stocky girls. Like I don't know. Natalya
like around.
I love Natalya and her sister.
Yeah.
But having known that Rhea just won it at Mania, I can't see her losing so quickly after. Been what, 2 months?
I agree with you. Yeah, they're pushing Rhea. I don't want to say to be like the next China.
Her voice is a little bit more manly than China's ever was.
I think it's the accent.
I think her voice might be manlier than yours.
And
it's definitely more manly than Dom.
I love Dominic Mysterio. He may be The kid needs to hit the gym a little bit.
I was just
With
gonna
Adam
say,
Cole.
flabbiest wrestler I've ever seen.
If he puts on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, I think he's a star.
Just lean the fuck out. Lean out. Lean out. You don't got to put on.
The tattoos don't help. The tattoos don't help.
He has zero definition. Like I have more muscular definition than him right now as a 36, soon to be 36-year-old man who works out sporadically. And he does this shit for a living.
Yeah, it's his job.
He doesn't look good for a living. He kind of does. Like when you still have to wear a t-shirt and you're not obese, you really need to evaluate your status as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, why are you wearing a t-shirt for a reason? It's not because you're working out, dude.
All right, so we're all going with Rhea Ripley to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. The next one we have is Bianca versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And I had No Shave Man Cave on a couple of weeks ago, and they told me that they read somewhere that's reported that WWE wants to modernize all of their records to where it's, no longer, I guess, people who no longer with the company, they're on bad terms with. They want everything to be more modernized. And Bianca's held the title for over a year. I think that continues, and I want to say I am going to agree with Sal and go with Bianca for this one.
I'm going to go with so a couple things. Two people whose names bother me. Asuka and Shinsuke Nakamura. Why do you have letters in your friggin' name?
Is it their name?
If your name is not Asuka, then why is there a fucking U in the middle of your name? Just spell your name A-S-K-A. Asuka. Done. Shin
silent.
Why? It's not an English name. You don't need the letter there. It's like somebody whose last name is Win and they spell it with an N. Why? W-Y-N-N. Win. Done. W-I-N. Win. Done. If you want to make it like when, W-E-N. Done. Why are you putting silent N's and G's in the beginning of the word? It's not an English name. They don't use the same alphabet as us. That U does nothing. That U is like the women's division for me. Does nothing. Asuka. I'm picking Asuka because I have an Asian fetish.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Oh, I'm clipping that. That's awesome. That was perfect. The whole rant and then your reason for picking Asuka. I love it. You know what? Thanks everybody for joining. That's all we have time for.
Listen, I want everybody to understand that my whole rant wasn't racist. I'm trying to understand why Americans or people who speak English add letters to foreign names that don't belong there. Just spell it phonetically. Like it's almost like you want us to spell their name, to say their names wrong as punishment for not having Anglo names. If you spelled it phonetically, what's wrong with that? I don't get that.
I blame Vince and Bruce Springsteen.
Fair
enough. Our other women's match, which
there's another one. Jesus Christ!
I know they go to Saudi and have the most and more women's matches than they do regularly. It's your favorite, the man Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, who, by the way,
because fucking Becky, I hate that whole man thing. I hate it. I hate it because it's a reference to Flair.
Woo!
All right. And I hate it because it's fucking dumb because she's clearly not a man.
It's that she's the man of the women's division.
Yeah, she's not. Okay. It's because to be the man, you got to beat the man. And he was a loser too. He hasn't been relevant since 1989.
I'm just mad that this match is in Saudi and Trish Stratus has to cover up because she has been looking mighty fine lately.
I saw Stratus the other day, and I gotta say, I was very surprised.
Average Joe, a regular looking guy.
Apparently, he used to be a bodybuilder, which makes sense because she used to be a bodybuilder as well.
Yeah.
So they met while they were juicing in the gym.
I met Trish Stratus once in the airport.
And
after WrestleMania 34,
did you make
she was she was talking to drunk Flair in the bar, and I'm like, oh, this is taking way too long. She finally left. She walked into a little shop or whatever.
And you followed her like a fucking stalker?
No. I was standing. The shop was right by the bar across, and I was standing across. I wasn't standing by the bar like this. Hey Trish, I'm waiting for you. I was waiting across.
You jumped in her path?
No. She's in the store shopping. I walk in and I'm like,
was that store Victoria's Secret?
I wish it was. You know what? It's almost as better. It's almost better because she was buying a bath bomb. So she had the bath bomb in her hand. And I said, hey, Trish, I'm a really big fan. I don't mean to bother you. Do you mind, we just take a quick photo? She's like, yeah, sure. No problem. Still holding the bath bomb. Holds the bath bomb. She leans in, puts her hand on my shoulder, take a couple of pictures. She goes, all right. She goes, are they good? I'm like, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. She goes, of course, no problem. And she purchased that bath bomb. She went home on her flight after a long WrestleMania weekend, got into her house, drew her bath, and she goes, you know what? That kid was really good looking. I'm going to use this bath bomb, and locked the door. Dropped it in, took her bath, and thought of me while she used that bath bomb. And
what the fuck was this? What was that?
I don't know. Did I do that?
Dropped it in?
She dropped it in. She snipped some bath salts, and then she hopped on in.
All right. So who are you picking?
Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. I'm going to go with Trish because they're in Saudi. And Sal said Becky. All right, so that's the women's matches. And now let's get into the men's. We have Gunther versus Ali, Mustafa Ali for the Intercontinental Championship. Listen, no one's stopping Gunther. I don't care that they're in Saudi and he's fighting Ali. For me, it's going to be Gunther.
I will never side with Nazi Germany, so I'm going to go with Ali. I lived in Saudi for a bit. They're getting more progressive as time goes on. They really are. I mean, women drive cars there now. If you're not Muslim and you're a woman, you can wear like short sleeves and stuff like that. And you could have your hair out and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
Progressive. You never know. Anything could happen. You don't know.
You're right.
Because I think they realize that the oil is running out in like 20 years. So they better become like a destination people actually want to go to.
Yeah, kind of.
Like UAE.
Is it?
Well, I mean, UAE is a spot for rich people to go to all the time. Yeah. They did the Fast and Furious movie there.
The new one?
No, 8.
Oh, the one with Ronda Rousey.
Yes, that's in UAE.
Yeah, you're right. I remember. Oh, okay. Yeah, that did look really good.
And Bahrain is also like an up and coming spot for rich people to go to. So Saudi's like, how they're doing the Will Smith. How can we get in on the fun?
Yeah.
And they're creating 2 new cities. So you never know, man. I could see there being a compromise where Trish lets the puppies out in Saudi as long as Mustafa Ali wins the Intercontinental Championship.
I would take that trade. 100%. No question.
All right.
Sal's also going with Gunther. And then we have the
side with Nazi Germany.
Disappointed in Sal. I'm just going with history, and I'm going with Gunther because I don't see him losing.
I'm going with history too. Nazis always lose.
That is true. That is true. And now for match 1 of the triple main event, we have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. I'm going with Brock because Cody going up 2-0, you don't get a third match. What's the point of the third match?
Is it clean?
No.
I concur.
I don't think it's clean. No. It's Brock's going to go over cheating. Someone gets involved. I don't think. See, the thing is with a show like this, which is why I think so, yeah. Or something's got to give because
I think Cody wins because Cody cheats, but he cheats altruistically. For instance, somebody throws Brock a chair, Cody intercepts, hits Brock with it, does the pin. Triple H comes out and says, no, that doesn't count. Get back to work. And then Brock hits Cody with the chair, and Triple H says nothing.
Yeah. Ooh.
Finish. Did I just become a writer?
You might have.
Sign
Did
me
we
up.
just become best friends?
Sign me.
So you're going with
Brock
Cody.
Dirty. Yeah, I'm going with Brock Dirty.
Brock Dirty. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going with Brock Dirty. Sal loves Cody. So he's going with Cody. And
No, Brock Dirty. Dirt,
let's go.
Dirt Rock.
That's good. I like that. Now the tag team championship match, which is Roman and Solo versus KO and Sami Zayn. This is big, by the way, because the Saudi shows have always been optional, and due to past, I want to say, political stances that Saudi has taken over
their political position.
What happened?
It's wrestlers' disagreements with Saudi's political positions.
Sammy and KO, big. This is their first trip there.
So again, I think that lends itself to what I was saying. Like when I got there, what I was briefed on prior to getting there versus what I saw when I was there, two different things. But again, a lot of news came out about like, yeah, they're running out of oil, man. They're out in 20 years. And then they started coming out with these new cities, like to try to get people who are not Saudi to move there. And I think you're going to see a big reformation in that part of the world. God willing, from my lips to God's ears, and maybe hopefully some progression happens in that part of the world. And Saudi being the face of Arabia, because I'm Saudi Arabia, right? Maybe the Middle East overall goes through some sort of reformation and joins us in the 21st century.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'd be good for everybody. It'd be good for everybody.
Yeah, not just for wrestling,
but maybe that's why.
The world.
But maybe that's why Sammy and KO are open, because maybe they had a conversation about that.
Yeah, I think so. And
you're an entertainer, you get a lot of access to shit that we don't have access to, like Dennis Rodman going to visit Korea.
Yeah.
So maybe KO, maybe Sammy sat down with somebody in that part of the world and they were like, hey, this is what we're doing. We understand we've made mistakes in the past, but we're moving toward a better future. And maybe you want to help be a part of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, God willing, a conversation like that happened, and they're not just doing it for the money.
No, they wouldn't. Sami Zayn he's publicly spoken out about that he would never go there under the current circumstances of like how the country is. I think something with Syria, something might have happened. I don't fully know. I'm not a history teacher, but I also have a feeling Triple H is a wrestler's wrestler, and these guys want to do things for Triple H. So I feel like if the situation is better over there, and just with Triple H how he is that he smoothed it over, and they're doing it for him, and because the conditions have changed over there.
They did it for the H.
With all of that said, and with how the current story's going, I don't see Roman Reigns and Solo winning. I see them losing due to outside interference from the Usos, but not intentional. Like I feel like the Usos try to help, and in the end they hit their brother.
Go to kick because that's all they know how to do, and they accidentally hit the wrong guy.
Yeah.
The Usos really let me down. Not gonna lie to you. Like seeing what they've become in the last 2 years, 3 years, since the whole bloodline thing, like as far as performers, in-ring performers, all they do is super kick. They do 30 super kicks per match. Obviously, they're not so super kicks because the guy gets back up. Like I knew a guy, he did a super kick and you didn't get up. Just saying. So these guys, everybody and their mother does a super kick. And you know what? I didn't know what Booker meant when he made those comments about slapping your leg. Having seen wrestling now where every single person throws a super kick. A super kick. It ain't that fucking super. It's like a drop kick at this point without you dropping. They get back up. It ain't that super. It really isn't. You know, it's become a leg drop.
It's very generic now.
Very generic. I am going to say Roman and Solo win. Because why not? Roman wins every other fucking belt. Guy only wrestles 2 times a year. He wins every time he wrestles. Like, what's the point? Is he even defending his championships at Night of Champions?
No.
Listen, I'm going to say it right now. Roman Reigns is a fucking loser, okay? He is, all right? How do you not wrestle and you're the champion?
Doesn't have to.
It bothered me once they stopped changing titles on Mondays. Because they used to.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain Kane lost his championship on a Monday.
He did.
I'm fairly certain Mankind won his championship on a Monday.
He did.
And does anybody now the champion doesn't even wrestle, let alone on a Monday? He doesn't even wrestle. Guy wrestles 5 times a year. And it's not always for the championship.
I wish I had the what chance because that whole thing would have been perfect with the what chance. You like Kane lost on a Monday. What? Mankind won on a Monday. What? You're right. You're absolutely right. Even the regular titles, even like the US title.
Yeah, they don't change titles on Mondays. And it's annoying. Because, like, listen, I have Peacock. I can watch every pay-per-view in the world. But they started this shit before Peacock was a thing. And you still had to pay $60 to watch a title change hands.
Unless you had the hot box.
Thank you, Grandma. I saw Sid Vicious break his leg on a hot box.
Oh, gross.
But I'm not a Roman fan, but you know what? They love him so much. It just whenever I hear anybody in their corporation say his name, all I hear is
that's good.
Me, I'm done with the NOI family in general. Like if like they might as well be called the McMahon family at this point. Like everybody in that family gets a push, a huge, gigantic push. Just say that you accidentally brushed elbows with the NOIs and you might get a push.
Not everybody.
Like God, if anybody ever needed a transfusion and they got one from one of those people's like, oh, I'm in the bloodline too. Like I've got NOI blood in my name right now. Get him a title. Get this man a title.
That's right. Gonna stalk out to see what well, I don't want Roman's blood, but I'll take Jimmy or Jay's blood. So I'm going with KO and Sammy. Sal's going with KO and Sammy.
I'm going with the bloodline because why the fuck not? Roman's got 2 belts already. Give him another one. Shit. Give him another 2 belts.
It'll be 4.
Give him it'll be like when a boxer comes to the ring and he's a unanimous champion and he shows up with 15 world heavyweight championships and then they go, oh, he's a world heavyweight champion. I'm like, of what fucking belt? There's 30 belts. Like, okay.
Yeah, right. And I think this should be the main event. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles to crown a new world heavyweight champion, and the lineage of this world championship is going to tie into the one that Eric Bischoff handed to Triple H September 2nd, 2002.
The NWA belt.
The big gold. Yeah.
The NWA belt.
Yeah. For 40 pounds of gold.
Yeah. It's not even, though, to be fair, the one that they handed Triple H is not the real belt. The real belt has a bend in it. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
The real belt has the bend in it that they put in to open up beers.
What?
You don't know about that?
No.
So the big gold belt, the real big gold belt, has a bend at the top of it. Did you ever notice that?
No.
God damn, you call yourself a fucking wrestling fan? Hold on. So the night that, if you remember, the night that Hogan walked out
Great American Bash. I think
was
might
it?
have
No,
been.
it wasn't. It was the one that Bash at the Beach.
Bash. I thought Bash at the Beach was when he turned.
Bash at the Beach was. I'm fairly certain it was Bash at the Beach where they made Jarrett lay down.
Yeah.
So
you might be right.
If you know anything, Hogan left with that belt.
Yes.
Later that night, Jarrett came out with a belt.
Yeah.
It looked very similar, except at the top of it, it was bent. It was bent forward. So the belt that Booker won that night was bent forward. At the top, at the very top, it was bent forward. The reason that it was bent forward is the previous NWA champions used to open beers with the top of the belt. So they take the top of the belt and they take a beer bottle and they pop the top of the beer bottle on the top of the belt. And over time, it happened so many times that it had a bend in it, as you can see right there.
Oh, okay. That's, first of all, great picture. Great picture of Sid. Sid's like, where's my beer?
But
that's great.
But mind you, that's in the 90s when Sid won that. So the bend in that one isn't as prominent. If I remember correctly, by the time Booker gets the belt, the bend is pretty noticeable. Like it's you see it and you're like, holy shit, that's bent. Like, what the hell is that about?
That's funny. I didn't even realize that.
But that's the story. But I watched the whole documentary on WWE Network. That's where I watched it. Actually, here's the picture of Booker at if I can get the damn picture loaded. Damn it. Why are people messing with me right now when I'm trying to do this? I'm doing the thing right now, people. So here's the picture of Booker holding the belt, and it's actually pretty prominent, like the bend in that belt. Why did an ad show up right here? There you go.
Oh, wow, you're right.
That bend is pretty. I mean, Nash had that belt for a bit, although Nash didn't really drink, but he was hanging out with Hall, and I'm sure Hall was like, hold on, but don't move. Hey, yo, don't move.
Hey, big guy. I don't know who to go with this one. Sal's going with
Cody. Cody. Going with AJ.
Sal's going with Seth. You're going with AJ?
Little known fact, Seth Rollins and I share the same birthday. His birthday's on Sunday. He's going to win.
Oh, okay.
Seth Rollins is exactly 1 year older than I am. His birthday's May 28th, 1986. Saudi Arabia is 7 hours ahead of us. So if we're watching Night of Champions at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night on Saturday, it's actually like 4 o'clock in the morning in Saudi Arabia.
It's on 1 p.m. on Saturday if you're going to catch it. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
I'm out. I'm doing things. So it would be a nice birthday gift.
What are you doing? What do you got going on?
Oh, it's one of my girlfriend's family members' birthdays. It's like they're turning 6 or something like that. I don't know.
It's your birthday. You kick that kid in the face and you say it's my birthday.
On Sunday is my birthday. I'm going to Peter Luger's.
Ooh, nice.
Right?
Nice.
Fancy shit.
Look at that.
But I'm going with Seth because his birthday's the next day.
I think either or could win. I don't know if AJ is going to win, being that it's a Raw championship. I don't see them moving AJ and the OC from SmackDown to Raw. Unless, I'm going to go. You're hanging out
with Al too much.
I'm going to go with Seth.
I haven't heard a man go that much.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Damn it, so yeah, I'm going to go with Seth as the new World Heavyweight Champion, Monday Night Rollins. I think that's the move. That's what we're all going with. And before we leave, because I don't want to.
his birthday was on Sunday, and did that play a role into your decision?
Your birthday being on Sunday and you wanted Seth to win is why I did it.
It's not that I want Seth to win because I think they're both fantastic wrestlers who have been without a belt way too long.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you were going to give a guy something for his birthday, a championship belt doesn't hurt. Hint, hint.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Like if somebody wanted to get me the new big gold belt for my birthday, I wouldn't sit there and be like, how dare you?
Yeah, right. I'll be like, oh, thank you.
You do, you know me. I love the signature belts, as you can see behind me. I love the signature series, and I don't think, other than Brock, I don't think there's a singular. I just logged into WWE. I thought that was Natalia for a second. It is not. Fair enough. Driving forward. Other than Brock, I don't think there's a WWE signature title belt that I don't like. That's because
they are nice.
Brock. I just don't like Brock.
That's okay. I just want to get into the results from the. Sorry, that was a big shot on my fucking forehead. I didn't realize the camera was so close. Real quick before we end, I don't want to take up too much of the people's time. I just want to talk about the results from the poll that I put up about a day ago, and my best Maury. The results are in. When it comes to greatest intercontinental champion, Chris Jericho was voted the best intercontinental champion of all time.
Are you wearing bifocals?
No, I dropped my glasses down like Maury does when he reads the paternity test results.
Because he wears bifocals. Got it.
So Jericho won the poll for the greatest IC champion of all time. Hard to argue. I didn't want to exclude any title, so I put in the European Championship. I had fun with it. I put Shane McMahon as an option. He did not win, but the winner was the first European champion, the British Bulldog. Tag team champions, I know you're a fan of this one. The New Age Outlaws, they won the poll. Greatest tag team of all time. That's what they need. They need custom tag team titles for the Outlaws. I've
been saying that for a minute. Now. Like they made the Brothers of Destruction, but they won't give anything for the Outlaws. Why? Because Billy's in AEW. That's just
makes no sense. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was talking about early in the show. That it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Like especially when it comes to like, the action figures. You're gonna deny me a Billy Gunn DX figure because he's with AEW. Who cares? People are gonna buy it.
It's hurtful because they don't want to give any money. That's why.
It's stupid. Greatest women champion, Trish Stratus edged out Charlotte Flair. Greatest United States champion, John Cena won in a landslide.
They made a belt for him. How could he not win?
Right? Makes no sense. ECW champion. I threw in Vince McMahon in there because I thought it would be funny. He got 11% of the vote, but the winner was RVD, which, I mean...
I voted for Taz.
I voted for Taz, too. I did the greatest WCW champion of all time.
Farouk.
I should have put Farouk. I put Hogan, Sting, Nash, and Goldberg. I realized as I was saying it out loud, I probably should have put Booker T, who was the 5-time WCW champion. But as always, Hogan won. This one shocked me a little bit. For the Hardcore Championship, I put Bossman, Al Snow, Mankind, and Crash Holly. Mankind won that vote. 63%.
I meant to vote for Crash.
I voted for Crash. Elroy, the little Houdini of hardcore.
Mankind because I jumped the gun and I saw Mick Foley and I was like, yes. And then I saw the options. I was like, son of a bitch. It was Crash Holly who paid the APA to protect him so he could go to sleep.
Yes. Yes. Now I've been rewatching all that stuff. I'm approaching No Way Out 2000, and it's great. It's great times. So much better back then. I'm gonna go back to that one. I want to end with those two. I did Cruiserweight Champion, which was kind of even, going up and down. I had Mysterio, Jericho, Malenko, and Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio won. Then we have the World Heavyweight Championship, and The Undertaker edged out Triple H in that vote.
That's the same title as the WCW belt, isn't it?
Well, I wanted to separate WCW, so it had, because WCW had their own set of champions, and then this is the World Heavyweight title that was debuted in 2002, like the WWE. Yeah, the big gold.
It's the same thing. Cool.
It's the same belt, but different history. Then I did the greatest WWE champion, and I put my Mount Rushmore on here. I put Hogan, The Rock, Cena, and Austin won that vote. Then I did Grand Slam. There's so many Grand Slams, and they're so different.
On the contrary, there are so many different types of Grand Slams.
That's what I meant. Yes,
the number is still small.
It is. So I went with the original. I went with European title. I didn't do United States Championship. I didn't do any of that. And I did Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, and Triple H. Because to me, they're like the original. They're part of the original Grand Slam class. And if you show your shirt to everybody, it's the Heartbreak Kid. He came away with the vote. And, I expected some people to write in a few responses. The only one that did for Grand Slam was Ladarius, and he went with Seth Rollins. But, other than that, I feel like I hit top champions within those titles. And some of the vote results were interesting. And it just leads it to the hype for this Saturday and the Night of Champions pay-per-view. And that's all the time we have. I have 4 cheese raviolis that I have to make for dinner. Nick has a bottle that he needs to start finishing because, hey, without a glass, you just got to finish the bottle. Nick, where can we find you? If you're playing it, I can't hear it.
Sorry. I was playing Shawn Michaels music.
I know. I figured you were dead. I thought you were just excited for my 4 cheese raviolis that you started dancing to.
Not at all. You can find me on the Scoreboard Addicts podcast every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. with my buddy TJ. We're talking Northeastern sports. All right, but we're talking sports in general, but we're a little focused on the Northeast going on over there. We're there again, 7:30, same bat time, same bat channel. That's where you catch us. You can catch me over at Score Addicts Pod, as you can see right there. We're on the Twitters. We're on the Instagrams. We're on the TikToks. All right, you can get us all over there. You can catch us on Rumble if you only want the audio, and we'll be there, and you can catch us there, and we'll be talking like this.
Thank you, everybody, once again for joining. I think maybe you'll be seeing me and Nick much more often.
Excellent.
Every Wednesday. What is it?
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.